Hi, so I'm going to kickstart this video with my favourite shot from this little session on the boat, testing out my new lighting. I like this shot, I like the composition, I like the kind of square shape composition with the, well, almost square, isn't it? It's not quite square. But with that very central line with the use of negative space on the left. I like that, and I like the way Adam's positioned. It's quite a thoughtful pose. And I also like the way that there's a little bit of floor at the bottom coming along to the right hand side, which just holds the weight of the image of Adam sitting there. I think particularly Adam's pose in this makes it just quite thought-provoking as well. You know, if you didn't know the story behind this shoot, it just conjures up a story, doesn't it? Kind of just, there's some mystery there. I like that. So that is my favourite. Now, a lot of these aren't perfect, and I'm going to talk through that a little bit. So as you can see here on the left, you can see the light on the background, which doesn't look great. It sort of looks flary. This one's very grainy. I've done a little bit of editing in Lightroom on some of these, but these couple are quite grainy. They're just not, they don't have the same connection, do they? They don't have the same meaning. They're quite, I don't know, there's less meaning. This one, I think, is an improvement in terms of like the storytelling element, just the way that Adam's, again, looking away from the camera, I think is quite nice. Still got that little bit of light coming in on the background in the back there. So the background isn't even, if you can see, there's like a lighter strip on the right hand side. We've got part of the door, and then we've got that sheet that I put up on the left. So the background's a little bit untidy here, and then obviously you've got that flare on the left. So still improvements to be made here, but it was just so good to just begin to light somebody again with this nice directional lighting. It was great to get back into the flow of that and practice. So I really like this one. I like the way Adam's looking away. Again, I think I like the mystery. I even quite like the central composition. And I just love the light on his shoulder, and the fact that he's got a little highlight on his hand on the right there as well. I really like that. You might be able to hear the rain on the window in this video, in this recording, if you can. It is absolutely tipping it down here in the UK today. Quite like this shot. What I don't like about it is the highlight on the right hand side from the light that's on the left is quite distracting. But I quite like the panoramic idea. I think with less light on the right it probably would work better. Adam was getting tired at this point. He'd had a long day. This one I really like. Again, there's a connection there, isn't there? Can you see the difference when Adam looks purposeful? He looks connected. There's more meaning to the image. And again, I also like the use of negative space on the left here and the slight diagonal that I've left. You can see part of the light can you see that little triangle of the actual light? So that's quite distracting. So if I was being picky, I would just tone that down slightly, edit that out slightly. I quite like that you can see a little bit of the circular backdrop there, but it's dark enough to have that mystery and that it's not a distraction. So I really like this shot for the central composition of where the light is. And it's just quite a thoughtful, pensive shot. And again, I think it is Adam's pose that gives this shot the atmosphere, isn't it? Have you noticed that throughout this little video? It's the a lot of the atmosphere is certainly in the posing. So really interesting. Now this is where we were going with the shoot, but we didn't finish. We stopped after this shot. So can you see here that it's quite nice that we've got a softer light, so we've got more detail in the shadows now. What we needed to do was adjust the backdrop, of course, and get the light out of shot. But I quite like where this was going. I quite like more detail and a softer contrast. So I think that this could have evolved even more as a shoot, and we could have had some really nice softer images afterwards. Yeah, so lots more to come, experimenting with these lights in this way. Really loved this shoot, and I will leave you with some of the behind the scenes so that you can see the space really clearly that we were working in. It's quite a confined space, low ceiling, of course, being on a boat. So and this, where I knocked a hole from one cabin room into another, it works really well as like baffles. You see this wall in the middle, so you can actually light people from the side, but you can hide the light behind the baffles so that the unwanted light doesn't get into the lens, you see, and you get less flare. Of course, I haven't quite mastered that yet. I wanted to backlight Adam, so the baffles being in the centre, I would have had to get further back and bring Adam forward, if you see what I mean, to be able to hide the lighting behind and for it to be coming over his shoulder. So yeah, lots of experiments to do with this. I think if I moved him closer to the centre of the room and then side lit him, this could work quite nicely as well. And I think that's where we were going with it as we kind of finished up there. But don't you just love this beautiful, rich lighting that, like, the blacks are just so, you could just fall into them, can't you? They seem to just go on and on, the shadows forever, like they're endless. You know, I love that. I don't know, it inspires something in me when I find that richness in the shadows. It's really special. Watching this video back, so one thing I could have done to avoid the light on the background is somehow, if I had the stands and the space really, but it was kind of conveniently hung up there, that backdrop. If I had brought the backdrop forward closer to Adam so that it went kind of in front of the light, then it might have been better in terms of not having that flary light over the front of the backdrop. And I probably would have had to move Adam forward slightly, and then I would have had to move back. So yeah, I was moving him around quite a lot to try and get this right. But you know, if this is what we can create in a small space like this, just imagine what we can do with a full-size studio. Yes, amazing. So I'm going to leave you with something that I recorded on the boat one of the days, and you can let me know what you think in the comments. Creation, creation, creation. To create from the heart. Opens your heart, lets the light in. It's a way you can win through creation. Creativity lifts you higher, lifts you up. Creativity is a way back to yourself. When you're feeling lost in everything of everybody else's feelings, other people's lives, what's going on for them, what it means for you, how they must be feeling, how you're feeling because of how they're feeling, all the confusion of other people's lives. Creating is a little break from all of that stuff. Creating is a little corner of you. A way to connect with you, bringing a sense of security, knowing, or just relief, just a little break. Music, photography, art, building, Lego, puzzles. Mindful hobbies, fishing, in the forest, walking, the gym, swimming, whatever brings you back to you. Creating things, creating art, creating energy starts with you.